Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Sunday, June, and I am so excited to have you guys with me today. Um, we're talking about overall mistakes today. You ready? Are you ready? I have a list. I also, as usual, when I start these sessions, have a little bit of ash. So we're going to take care of that. All right. So, hi. My name is Roshida Dowe, and I am a career break coach that lives in Mexico City. I've been here for a number of years, and I help people move abroad and take career breaks. And today we're talking about the things you want to keep an eye on when you're moving so that you don't really end up going back home if that wasn't part of your original plan. Right? If you want to stay out, here's some things to think about. Also, hey, if you're here, if you've moved abroad, if you have some experience in this, drop some things in the comments. If you're watching live, if you're watching on the replay, drop some things in the comments that you think are move abroad mistakes, and let's talk about them. In the meantime, hey everybody. I see some beautiful members of my YouTube membership here. I see Sarah, Junquette, Glass Half Full, Sunshine. Hey y'all. I see some Mexico City friends. See Alicia, who I saw on Friday at our Exodus Summit meetup in Mexico City. Yay. That was a good time. It was a good time, wasn't it? It was a good time. Yes, Malaysia says, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to like the video. Malaysia said so. It's her, not me. Going ahead. I am not wearing red, Mom. This is orange. And I own red, I think. I actually don't know if I own anything that's red. Red used to be my favorite color to wear, y'all. Loved wearing red. And I don't actually know if I own any red anymore. Interesting. Thank you, Raquel. I tried the lipstick under the gloss is by Mented, which is a black-owned brand that they carry in Target, but I have no idea what color it is. It's like a chocolatey brown. I don't know. Peyton finally made it to a live. Yay. Okay, I got a list. Let's talk about it. Hey, Tony. Let's talk about it. I saw my business partner, Stephanie Perry, here. The Exodus Summit 2023 news is only getting better and better and better and better and better and better and better. And we have no announcements. None at all. Not yet. I'm not going to accidentally say anything today, but the news is good. I'm so excited about it. And so excited. If you guys aren't on the Exodus Summit waitlist, exodussummit.com/2023. Make it happen. Abba is still in the Congo. She'll be back on July 21st. Our woman, Abba, lived in Detroit. And then, after attending Exodus Summit and being a part of my group coaching program, she moved to Mexico City. And now she's left Mexico City for temporarily to go to the Congo and learn and exchange ideas on beekeeping to help women support themselves over in the Congo. I mean, this community of women are so fly. I've got to tell you, the community of women, y'all, are so fly. You're in the Congo? What? Beekeeping and stuff? Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Okay, so let's start talking through some of the things that I think are mistakes that you guys don't want to make. Let me move some stuff out of the way before I make a mess out here. Hey, Goshan. The other thing to know is that I'm drinking a Bellini. Now, I haven't started drinking yet, so I am 100% sober right now. I'm going to start drinking. I also put the bottle of Prosecco on my desk, so this might not be the only glass. I am so sorry. But I'm who I am. And so I'm going to do what I do. If you saw me on Instagram on Thursday, I was making Bellini cocktail popsicles because I had peaches I needed to use, and they're so good. Good and strong. Good and strong. So this is the same recipe as the Bellini cocktails. It's the same nectar, but then I added more champagne. I forgot how strong the popsicle was, and I added more Prosecco this morning. So we're about to get lit. All right, I see that Auntie Lou finally received her first passport in the mail, and she's giving us credit. Ow, 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 ow. Yes. All right, let's talk about it. The first mistake I want to talk about when you're moving abroad, for people, if you don't know me, my intros go long. This is only 5 minutes, so kind of short today. But for new people here, let's get right into it. The first mistake I think you could make is running away from something instead of towards something, right? Like back up a second. Every time I see in like expat groups, I see something bad. Bad is in quotes because like it's really terrible. I really mean terrible. Every time something terrible happens in the US, there's a rise in inquiries about moving abroad, which is natural, right? Every time there's a mass shooting, every time Supreme Court is like, this country is for rich white men only. There's an increase in inquiries about moving abroad. And I understand the sentiment, but what I also hear a lot of is I need to get out of the country. I need to get out of the US as soon as possible, period. And then the next question tells me you're not ready. Like the next question is something like, where should I go? Or how can I do that? Or how much will it cost? If you haven't done any of that research already, like if you're coming to the internet to ask strangers where you should go, you should back up a second. I want you to rewind, right? I want you to rewind and think about what it is that you want, right? Like, is your desire to move abroad reactionary? Is it fear-based? Or is it something that you really want because you believe a better life is out there for you? I believe a better life is out there for you. Like if you're asking me, should you leave the US? I'm gonna say yes. I don't know anything about you, right? Like, hi stranger. I don't know you at all, but my answer is yes. Yes, you should go. Yes, you should leave. But you should not just be running from something, you should be running towards something. You should be saying, everything I know about Fiji says this is the place for me. Let me do my research and see if it's true, right? Or I want to leave the US. I don't know where I want to go, but these are the top 5 things I'm looking for. Asking strangers on the internet where you should move to it's not a recipe for success. It's not. They don't know you. They don't know you. What are you trying to get from them? Or another one I like is, where are y'all? What country are y'all in? What's that got to do with you, sweetheart? What's that got to do with you? Like, I understand wanting to be around community, and we're going to talk about that later. But the idea that where the other people are is where you need to go is frequently why people end up going back to where they were in the beginning. Because it wasn't for them. and they didn't know that. They kind of just followed along. So I really want you, when you're thinking about something, to do the research, thinking about moving abroad like this, do the research and like run towards something. Be excited about where you're going. Everything you've heard about where you're going, even if you've never visited. I'm not saying you need to do a scouting trip. Scouting trips help. I'm not saying you need to do a scouting trip. I'm saying that if you don't want to do a scouting trip, you got to do your own research. Run towards something you're excited about, not where other people are or whatever's easiest for you because you need to get out of the US. I want you to move in a way that feeds your soul, right? I want you to move in a way that if you move somewhere, right? If you move somewhere because you heard good things about it, I want you to move somewhere with the flexibility. Like if you're like, I need to move quickly, where are people? What's the easiest place for me to get to? I want you to also on the back end have the resources and the stamina to move somewhere else if that place doesn't work for you, right? If you're like, I got to get out of Dodge today, right? Like if the cartoon villain is coming to tie you up on the train tracks tomorrow, and so you need to leave town today, be prepared that wherever you move to without doing a lot of research, without doing a scouting trip, may not be your forever place, right? And so if you go somewhere and you don't love it, even if other people are telling you they love it, if you don't love it, know that it's not you, right? It's just this place isn't for you. The combination of you and this place don't go, or maybe it's you, this place, and this time in your life, this season of the year, whatever it is, they just don't go for you, right? And so you got to be flexible and going somewhere else. You want to run towards something you love. If you can't do that, be prepared to move again, right? HB, who I think is new here, says, hello, I don't think there's a problem with asking where others are. I didn't say there was a problem with asking where others are. I said there's a problem with moving somewhere because that's where others are. And that's solely the reason you're moving. That's what I said. You're not going to misquote me today. That's the problem I see. People who are like, oh, that's where people are, I'm going there. That's not a winning approach because we all want different things. All right. Next on the list, assuming that when you move abroad, everything's going to be better. When I leave the US, everything's going to be better. All the problems I have will melt away. And that's another, go back to Facebook groups again. That's one of the reasons that I think I see so many questions in groups about abandoning all issues. Like any issue you have at home, like, oh, I can just abandon that when I go somewhere else, right? Like I see a lot of like, did y'all stop paying your student loans? Now, if you know me, there's no judgment about not paying student loans. But moving abroad, like there are reasons why you would pay less if you move abroad, like you stopped working, right? But like saying that I no longer owe this money because I live in a different country isn't how life works. I decide, like if you're like, I decide I'm never going to pay them back no matter where in the world I am, that's one thing. But like I have moved across a border, which is truly a construct. If you are moving across a border and your answer is, well, now I don't have to pay student loans. Now I don't have to pay taxes. I'm so sorry. That's not how that works. You can make those decisions, right? But the things that haunt you at home aren't going away. The bad relationships with your family aren't going away. You may not see them, right? They may be less pressing, but the issues you have at home aren't going to go away because you've moved somewhere else. Okay, so many people are moving based on their birth chart, and someone did that for me once. And I can't remember what cities came up, but there were cities that I love. Renaissance of consciousness. As I prayed, I researched, I used my own birth chart to help. I choose ICMC lines that have an energy to assist my soul, not myself, right? And then Miss Watch and See Me, because I just my birth chart, and Merida is a prominent location for me. Okay. Delia said it, not me. Those people moving to a place because others are there are always disappointed. Which, okay, I'm gonna skip straight to my third thing. Not my third thing. I'm skipping my third thing and going somewhere else. And that is thinking that every person that looks like you is going to be in your community, right? The people who are like, where are the Black people, are going to move somewhere and not like the Black people there or like the ones they meet. I'm so sorry. It's true. It's true, right? The idea that I hear from a lot of people seems to be that if there are fewer people that look like me in this location, we're all going to be some sort of kumbaya community. And that's just not true. It's not happening like that, right? Like we have sisters. You could think of like 5 Black women right now in your location that you don't like, right? And that when you ask the question, who all gonna be there? If they are there, you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna go, right? I know you can. Who all gonna be there is a question for a reason. It's a question we ask for a reason. Who all gonna be there? And the who all gonna be there of it all doesn't change because you all moved abroad. You're not all community because you live in that place together. You're not all going to be community. And the idea, and this comes up because I've seen this in specific cities where people are like, yeah, the Black people are here, but they ain't my Black people, right? And that might not be because there's something wrong with them. It might be because the demographics don't match, right? In some cities, Merida, the young single people show up and are like, it's all families and elderly. I say elderly. I just said elderly. That's my mom. My mom was about to kill me because she lives in Merida for saying elderly. Especially because she's been out in the streets 2 nights in a row while I have been in bed. Some communities just aren't going to support you the way you want them to. And finding out where the Black people are, where the Asian people are, where the Latino people are, where the white people are, is not going to help you. It's not. It's not like, that's not. Right. And I know that I'm never going to negate the value of being in community with people that look like you. I am going to say, be careful about assuming there's community because people who look like you were there. All right. All right. The next assumption I want you guys to avoid is assuming it's easy. A lot of times what I hear in groups and in places from people is like, oh, this isn't, people think that when they move abroad, especially in the US, because they're leaving so many things behind. They're leaving behind classism, and they're leaving behind racism. And they're leaving behind so many isms. No. That things are going to magically be better. They're going to magically be easier. And I'm like, try paying an electric bill that's wrong in another language. Even if you know the language, looking like a foreigner going up there complaining about the bill because it's not right. Right? Imagine trying to figure out how all of these things work when you have no idea. No idea. You know how long it took me to figure out how to pay my bills around here? Because what? Because the bill comes in the mail on a Tuesday and it's due on a Wednesday and they don't tell you it's coming on Tuesday? What? Right? Like things, imagine the life you live right now and then doing that in a foreign language. Things are not necessarily easier. There are some things that are easier or smoother, right? But assuming that everything's going to be easier, you leave the US, everyone's out there in this paradise. No, baby. No. Mm-mm. No. All right. My expectations based on online discussions, I kind of thought Mexico City was going to be a little Atlanta with how much they hyped, how many Black people were there. Who hyped it? Who hyped the Black people? Sis, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Because I'll tell you, I can go days without seeing any Black people. Days. If I want to see Black people, I have to be intentional. Who hyped this? Who did you listen to? It was not me. There are Black people here, right? My building probably has 1,000 people and the only Black person in my building, right? And that's not because I'm segregating myself, right, from Black people. It's because that's what the numbers lead to. Baby, who? Don't listen to them people no more. And I know you're not going to tell me it was me. All right, Savasa, no, it wasn't me. I'll tell you. Because every time people come, I met a beautiful woman the other day named Brianna, and she was like, she's from Detroit. And she was like, where the Black people at? And I was like, sis, it's a city of 23 million people. We're like everywhere and nowhere all at once. We are everywhere and nowhere all at once. I go to any neighborhood and I'm like any new neighborhood, I'm gonna see somebody across the street, down the block, right? Somewhere. We may never be close enough to communicate, but I'll see somebody. But does that? When I saw Brianna, I walked 5 miles that day. I took a 5-mile walk. 4.5-ish, a little bit more than 4.5. Brianna was the only Black person I saw on a 4.5-mile walk. The only one. That's not Atlanta. That's not Atlanta. It's not. No. But then again, on Friday night, I was together with the Women of Exodus Summit. So there were, I think, never did a count, maybe like 12 of us together that night. Maybe. Yeah, like Adelia says, we're here, but you got to be intentional. You really got to be like, who is having an event? Who is doing something? Because, all right. Next on the list of mistakes to make, this is number 4, but we're making it number 5 because I hit that kinfolk thing earlier. Expecting things to be like they are at home. And because I always try to keep it real with y'all, I'm going to tell you one of my things. That I'm like, I don't like this. I'm going to live with it, but I don't like this. I cannot go to a movie in English that doesn't have subtitles in Spanish. Now I'm reading the screen and watching a movie, and if I'm paying to go to a movie, I don't want that. I don't want that. My choices are to go see an English-speaking movie with Spanish subtitles or go see that movie dubbed in Spanish. I don't care how y'all feel about what I just said. It's how I feel. I don't want the words on I was watching Little Mermaid, like the word is in front of the little shelled character. I can't tell what that is because the word, what's happening? I don't want to read it. Now, I have accepted that this is what my life is now, right? I have accepted that this is what it is. I'm going to be reading while watching any movie if I go to the movies. I want it to be one way, but it's the other way. It is. It just is. But this only impacts me. Genesis says it's a good way to learn Spanish. At home on my TV, yes, when I can run it back if I miss something. Or I'm like, what does that word mean? I can look it up in the, I can look up what the actual words mean, because what the characters are saying and what the subtitle says are not necessarily the same thing. So when I can look it up on a Translate app, that's a good way to learn Spanish. In the movies, I'm not learning Spanish. I'm not. I'm not learning Spanish. Like, that's just not what that is. At home, yes, with subtitles. In the movies, because baby, the words they choose to represent the words that are said are sometimes night and day. Or like, you know, kind of close, but like it rhymes. Like in that song, it rhymes if you use this word, but that's not really what that word means. I don't like it. I don't want it. But I'm accepting it, right? And that only impacts me. And I don't complain. This is the first time I've ever said this out loud. I don't complain about it. The way people be complaining about the fact that things aren't the way they want them to be at home is wild to me. Wild to me, the way people be complaining about things. Here, it's a lot of times it's like the traffic or the way people drive. Like, yes, be aware there's going to be traffic. It's the summer, it's rainy season. When it starts raining, traffic is going to be just unbearable. You're going to be late. The way people drive, no. But it is what it is. Like, being aware of it is one thing, but being like, I can't stand, or like, they need to drive. I've heard it like they need to drive better. They need to go back and take driver's ed. No. You need to not get in a car if this is a concern of yours. Expecting things to be okay. So what are some ways? I've told you guys I'm not even expecting things to be the same. I'm just unhappy about the movies. It's so petty. It's so petty. You don't have to come for me. I know it. But what are some ways that like you've been in a country and been like, petty ways only. Give me your petty ways that you've been like, I don't like this. I'm looking for them in the comments. What are the petty ways that you've been like, this is not for me? I don't enjoy this. I want things to be the way they are. Poof, be gone now. I don't know where you are, but you said sometimes I need to keep things to myself. A white man complained out loud that locals don't speak English like they do in Puerto Vallarta. That's a complaint that I hear. Why doesn't anyone speak English? Because that's not the primary language in this country. Oh, you're an Ajijic. And listen, there's a lot of English in Ajijic compared to other places in the country. Woo! All right. What are your petty things? Drop them in the comments. I'm waiting. I know y'all. Don't try to act like I'm the only one. Share with us what your petty things are. Oh, Kat says tree climbing rats in Puerto Rico. Creepy part of a beautiful island. Tree climbing rats would freak me out. I mean, all rats freak me out. My last rat incident was in New York City, and I was like, It's too bold. Like y'all are too bold. What is happening? There's no shame. You don't have no rat shame, right? Like the sewers are free. I watched the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. You're supposed to be in the sewers. You, Master Splinter, go to the. Why are you on? Like, why are you trying to run up my ankle? Tree climbing rats were also in Bali. Where are you? Oh, oh. Auntie Lou said, I've watched several YouTube channels jump on the Merida train and leave within a month because they thought they could live the same life they had in the US trying to be ballers. I'm going to tell you, as a friend, that if you want to live the exact same life you live in the US, it's going to take pretty close to the amount of money you paid in the US. Pretty close. Now, someone out here is calling me a liar right now. And they're like, no, my rent is blah, 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 compared to blah, blah, blah. Right. I get it. Does your apartment have smells? Is it climate controlled? Right? Like I'm saying the exact same life. Like, can you afford to buy a car in your new country and get it titled and drive without incident? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, are you living people come and they're like, I will just transport my life, boop, and put it over here. And I'm like, that's going to cost you, dog. It's going to cost you. My no-name TV costs a lot more than a brand name TV in the US would cost. But I wanted a large flat screen TV, so I had to pay the price, right? Like things, there's a balance. Some things are going to be less expensive and some things are going to be significantly more expensive. I can't get the gel I use in my hair unless I fly up and get it or have someone else bring it for me. Hey, friends. Or I have it shipped to me at an exorbitant cost. When I got my hair cut, I was looking at the products that my hairdresser was recommending. I remember one thing being like $20 in the US and to get it on Amazon and to get it on Amazon in Mexico was like $120. Right? Like I might be eating cheaper, but if I'm going to live the exact same life, and when I say exact same life, I don't mean I'll use a different gel. I mean using the exact same gel I want to use that I would use in the US. That's where I'm saying your life isn't going to be significantly cheaper. You got to be like, if you want a cheaper life abroad, you have to let it be a different life, at least in the small ways. You got to let it be a different life. You can't expect things to be the same. Brown sugar babe, still trying to get used to sewer smells from bathroom drain covered or not. Is that petty? That's not petty. That's not petty. Now, if you were like, I cannot believe that you have me down here living like this, I'd be like, okay, girl, that's petty, right? But if you just don't want to smell sewer in your apartment, welcome. The drain covers in my bathroom work really well. The drain covers in my guest bathroom don't work as well. And they're the same cover. I do not understand it, but I close that door. It's not what's happening in the guest bathroom is not my business. Adelia says, a big mistake is choosing a place because of cost of living solely instead of because you want to be there. Yes, that's a big mistake. That's a significant mistake because cost of living's change, sometimes rapidly. Hello to everybody dealing with the peso. What do I want to call it? I feel like I used to use muscle terms. Like it has swelled. The peso has gained significantly compared to the dollar. All right. Mom says she's being eaten alive by mosquitoes at this moment. If she doesn't stop, she's on her way back to Florida. You'll have to come visit me. She's not going to Florida, y'all. She's not. She loves me. She loves Merida. But she also asked me to come visit her. And she knows that if there are 10 mosquitoes in the room, 9 are going to bite me and 1 might bite her or leave. So why would she tell me she's being eaten alive by mosquitoes and think I'm going to come visit her sometime soon? That's not how we roll. I'm so sorry. I know you had this evil scheme to come get me out there, but when it's mosquito season, maybe you better fill in that pool in your backyard with some concrete in there. Do something. Spray something down. I don't know. I'm not into it. Y'all, when I was in San Miguel, I was with my friend Angel. We went to a nursery and we were standing side by side. And I had so many mosquitoes bite me on my legs at the same time that my legs were literally on fire. Like not like, oh, that's uncomfortable, but like tears in my eyes, pain from the amount of like mosquito bites I got at visit. She ain't got one. She did not get a single one. Angel was like, girl, what? But she had some Benadryl, and I was in the streets and took you. You know it's bad if you're in the streets and you don't. I don't normally have allergies, so I don't take allergy medication. I was like, give me the Benadryl now. If I go to sleep, get me home. I literally was like, if I fall asleep, just get me home. But I need this Benadryl now because of the way I'm on fire. Mosquitoes? No, I'm not living there. Yes. Things like sunblock. Twice the price. Right now, can you get a sunblock you've never heard of before at a great price? Yes, you can. If you want to use the things you use in the US, if you want to pick up your life and move it somewhere else, it's going to cost you US prices. I promise you. I promise you. Yes, absolutely. I don't know if I'm allergic to mosquito bites, but because I don't get like, I know some people get like hard knots and like bruises. I get like the swelling, but like one little bite turns into like something like this on my shoulder. Like it's just a swollen like mass every single time I get bitten. Money Coach Malika with Fabulous Financials. That's a hell of a name, girl. Says, disregard for timeliness annoyed the cheese out of me. I realized that ahorita didn't really mean right now or soon. I learned to chill out and wait. Yes. Timeless is a thing I hear complaints about too. Tell Migneezy said, waiting for service people. Baby, you gonna wait? Wait a minute, Tell, where are you? I feel like I heard you say something about Guadalajara the other day, but did you actually move? I thought you were on vacation. Tell, did you move? What's happening? No, I like your name, Money Coach Malika. Portuguese sunblock is more expensive, says our Black Utopia. Listen. If you want to live you can live a less expensive life, but it's going to be a different life. A different life. That's okay. I'm not saying a different life is bad. I'm saying you should expect to live a different life. Don't expect. I see people looking at cost of living calculators and saying like, oh, this was going to cost me. That's what it costs other people. You don't know them people. You don't know them people. You don't know how they're living. You don't know how they are living and whether you want to live like that. Don't do that. All right, next on the list. Okay. I think this is number 6 now. Number 6 on the list of, okay, Tell, you said your daughter's bathroom is more of a smell. I think you moved and I didn't know. Ew, 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 ew. Next on the list is thinking that you're going to easily assimilate or be accepted. And this video is open to everybody. And, I don't know who you are watching this, but I'm specifically talking to Black people right here. This and the next point are specifically for Black people. A lot of times we think, because we're fun and easygoing, generally, it's a huge generalization. I'm so sorry. We think that like, oh yeah, like my Thai neighbors, it's going to be easy. No. Sometimes it might be easy. And sometimes people might be like, oh, I'm really interested in you, whatever, how'd you get here, blah, blah, blah. But like in the larger community with people who aren't, your neighbor on your block, somewhere, it's not going to always be all hugs. It's not going to be like, oh, you're just like one of us, right? If you don't look like the local population, and even if in some cases you look like the local population, but they can tell you're not local, you might always be treated like an outsider. Always be treated like an outsider. Are you okay going somewhere where you're always treated like an outsider? I think that for me, that goes along with like the assuming it's easy. There's not enough Spanish I can speak to ever be treated like I'm from here. Especially when I have Mexicans in my comments saying things like, well, a lot of Mexicans have never seen a Black person before, which problematic because Afro-Mexicans exist and they have in this country since the probably just like the 1600s. The Yucatan, I believe the Yucatan was a big stop for slave ships on their way. This is one of their first stops in the Americas, if they passed by the islands. And it wasn't just like a gas stop. They weren't just getting snacks and gas. They dropped people off here to be slaves. And those people, after slavery was abolished here, stayed here and started families. So when Mexicans come in my comments saying, oh yeah, well, it's not racism, we've just never seen Black people before, I want to be like, you may not have acknowledged them as Black, but they are. I see people who look like me on the streets, Afro-Mexicans, Afro-Latino of some type, frequently. Anyhoodle, if you look different, if you don't speak the language fluently with the right accent and the right words, if you look different, if you dress different, if you sound different, you may never assimilate. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being like, as long as I live in Mexico, I'm going to be viewed as an outsider. I'm going to be viewed as a tourist most times. I went to get a pedicure the other day, and I talked to the woman in Spanish about everything I wanted, got it done. On the way out, I saw that they had a frequent buyer card, in Spanish. I can tell they have a frequent buyer card, frequent service card. So I was like, hey girl, can I get one of those? Blah, 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 blah. And she was like, you live here? And I'm like, I can speak Spanish. I'm in the neighborhood. I'm in the neighborhood. I speak Spanish. I recognize what the card is, and I asked for one. Instead of being like, "Yep, good," you're like, "You." I'm always going to be an outsider. Always. There's no way around that. I'm okay with that. It just, would I like to feel like less of an outsider? Yes. When I go to the department store and they're trying to get people to sign up for credit cards, they walk right past me. They're like, "Nah, that's not for you." With your foreign ass. I don't ever get offered a store card. You've been in Merida Tel's been in Merida for a year? And you ain't tell me? We about to have a conversation offline, Miss Tell. But I'm so excited for you. Okay, the bottom of this is getting really peachy, so it's time for more. I was talking to people online about this Prosecco champagne cork. I used it this morning, so I got a big pop. I don't know if we're gonna get a big pop now, but no big pop now. I opened it this morning. It helps. It keeps bubbles in your. I opened this on Thursday, and we still bubbling. Still bubbling. Can I hear that? Oh, yeah. Teresa got hers. Teresa said, when I was talking to her, she was like, buying one right now because I'm influential about alcohol related things, I guess. Our Black Utopia says they're offered loyalty cards, even though they're bad Portuguese. I'm not. Because the idea that like I could live here is still so foreign. They don't accept people who look like me to actually live here. This one is from Williams Sonoma, but Tel got hers online. I don't know where she got it. I think, did she say got it from Amazon? I don't know where she got it from, but I love this. I could still be drinking this next week. It's still gonna have them bubbles. If I popped it, because I popped it earlier this morning, it didn't do the whole boom. But if I did it again tomorrow, I would get because the bubbles will build up. Boom. Oh, Sarah says they're at Crate and Barrel. All right. LLO with the history that I'm not a history person, y'all. I just be making up stuff. I was like 1800s. No, that's not right. 1600s. That sounds more right. LLO says as early as 1520, over the approximately 300 years, the last of the slave trade brought about 200,000 Africans to Mexico. Thank you for knowing history, because I don't. All right. Yes, you're not gonna easily assimilate. You're not going to be considered someone's cousin. Like, you might be considered someone's cousin, but you're not gonna be the whole neighborhood's cousin, right? You might get invited to one barbecue, but like, you're always going to be a foreigner. Don't argue with me about that. It's true. There's no point. It's true. Because people are gonna be like, no, my neighbors love me. Okay, girl, your other neighbors don't. Like, what? There's a guy, a security guard in my building, that has the security guard that works in my building who opens the door. Every time I get to the door, he seems disgruntled, and I don't notice the same disgruntled energy with anybody else. And I'm like, is it me? And if it's me, why is it me? Why don't I deserve good service? Why do I always have to like look at you before you open the door? Why are you so eager with these people? And I get like scraps. But I've been living here since before you were a security guard here, and I don't open that door. Somebody else opens it. So you're going to open this door. I am so sorry. You open the door for everybody else without huffing and puffing. So go ahead and open it. I don't know why we get this energy every time, but go ahead and open that door. You can huff and puff, but open the door. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about me that makes him do this, but every single time. Now, the guy before him, every time would be like, let's have a conversation. Hey, girl, how you doing? Where you been? Why have you been gone so long? I haven't seen you, blah, 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 blah. This guy, every single time. The security guard at the garage, which I walk past, not drive past, because y'all know I don't drive here. Every single time he sees me, it's like, what's up? How you doing, home girl? Blah, 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 blah. Right? I could go to his bar. He had a cookout. I could go. The one at the front door, I'm not invited to that cookout. I'm okay with that. Not everybody has to love me. No, there are no other Black people in my building. Well, I haven't seen him in a while. I've only seen him once. I've lived here over 2 years. I've only seen him once. There is a Black guy with a Latino wife and children that she doesn't realize are Blackish. And I've only seen him one time. So I don't know. And sometimes there's a couple of Airbnbs in my building, I think. I don't know how many. And every once in a while I'll see another Black. Like I saw a Black woman here once. She was not friendly. But I met a Black woman here who was in my building. Whatever. But mostly for the past almost 3 years, it's just been me. Okay. Mod Child, let's go, Royal Ndie. I probably butchered that. Says, true about always being a foreigner. I met that painful reality in Senegal and I'm married to one for 24 years. Yeah. Even in Africa, you're always going to be a foreigner. I'm so sorry. I hate to tell you that. We talked about this a while ago about like not getting like people talk about like, oh, I felt like I came home, but like a lot of us don't. A lot of us don't get like a coming home welcome. And so that's okay, but it is what it is, right? Going to Africa with the idea that like, I'm going to fit in here. I just saw someone who lives in Rwanda talking about how when she's in a restaurant and or like a store, and she's communicating with someone, other Rwandans. She's from America. She's communicating with other Rwandans. If they see an Asian or a white person come in, they will stop talking to her and go help them. And like give her like the hush and don't say nothing. Real customers are here now. And so maybe she has assimilated. Maybe she has assimilated. But like, don't expect that you're going to be treated with love simply because of what you look like or where you are. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. The next one is related also to Black people. I hear this a lot. When they are talking about foreigners, they're not talking about us. When they say they don't like foreigners because we're gentrifying, they're not talking about us. When they say foreigners are doing this or that, they don't mean us. They do. Once again, so sorry. So sorry, but it's true. Thinking that those people aren't talking about you when they talk about foreigners. When we already talked about the fact that you can't assimilate, and especially if you do not look like the local community, you're always going to be treated like a foreigner. Maybe they're talking about you. They're talking about you. They may not be thinking about you when they think about foreigners. But if they had a lineup of people and were like, who are the problem? They're going to pick you, baby. You're one of the people. You may not be the only person getting picked, but you're going to get picked as the cause of whatever problem they're blaming on foreigners. When they're talking about foreigners, they're not talking. I see this in Facebook groups all the time, and it drives me insane. Thinking they're not talking about you because you're Black and like they like Black people. Nobody likes Black people. Like the culture, the things that they can lift and take, yes, but anti-Blackness and the way it has been a dominant force in the development of the world as we know it today means nobody likes Black. At the core, like nobody likes Black people. And that's not like oh, I'm a victim. It's like recognizing that like, yes, this person might like me, but their grandma in the back talking shit. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. Okay, Adelia says, I'm guilty of this because I didn't consider myself a gringo. Maybe naively, I feel like when they complain about expats, I'm exempt because I'm an immigrant. And I understand why you think that, but they don't know. They don't know you're an immigrant and you're here for life. And I'm not sure who that would make a difference to. You're an outsider, right? So when we talk about the price of rent going up because of all the expats, when they see you in the street, you're an obviously Black woman with pink hair. You stand out, right? Like when you're in the streets, they don't see you and be like, nah, she's one of us. Oh, nah, she's an immigrant, so she's cool. She's here for the long term, so she's cool. She speaks Spanish, so she's cool. No, you're a foreigner. Yeah, I see it. Don't fall for the trap. Do not fall for the trap of thinking when they say X, Y, or Z about foreigners, about expats, about immigrants, they're not talking about us. They don't mean us. They mean them. Baby. The way I had this conversation the other day with someone, and I think in a lot of ways we can be exempt because they're not thinking, right? Like when people think about, I use Mexico City as an example because I live here. When people think about what the people who are coming to Mexico City and making rent increase, what they think about generally may not be my face, right? They might be thinking about, well, white people, white women, white men, because all of those articles about like the tech people who could work remotely and they were coming down here and good lives and blah, 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 woo, 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 right? Like there were a number of stories about that. But when they see me in the streets, if it's between me and a white woman, I'm going to tell you this. You may not believe me, but I'm going to tell you this. If it's between me and a white woman and we're both speaking Spanish, they are more likely to identify me as an outsider than her. Because there are a lot of white Mexicans, but for some reason, a lot of people don't think Black Mexicans exist. Okay. There are a lot of white Mexicans. I used to go to a spin class. I looked around one day and every single woman had pale skin and was blonde. Every single woman, except for me. Every single woman. And like, I understand that was a function of class. Some spinning classes were not cheap. And the woman who could afford to go a lot of that blonde wasn't natural. They wanted to be blonde even though they weren't born blonde. I had a hairdresser here once, and he told me that women in Mexico City do not care about the quality of the cut. They care about the color. They care about the color. They want to be blonde more than anything else. Now, that's a gross generalization, right? It's a generalization. But he was like, in my experience, the cut does not. The cut could be nonsense. They don't care. They want the right shade of blonde. Between me and a random white woman in the streets, they are, unless that woman has like red hair and green eyes, which I don't see frequently here, right? They're more likely to pick me as the foreigner. And so when you're in the streets, they may not be thinking about you when they conceptualize who the foreigner creating problems for them is. But when they see you, it's you. It's you, dog. What are you doing here? Why would you want a loyalty card? You don't even live here. I was like, years, baby. I've lived here for years. Yes, please give me one. You live here? That's why I'm asking for it. Mm-hmm. Like the idea that I could be here is so foreign. And now that she knows that, it's a different situation. All right. I don't really know the psychology behind it, but I think there's something about Black people being kind of like on the bottom rung of American society, especially if there's anything else different about you, like you're queer or disabled or anything else, right? Like, woo, bottom rung of society. And then feeling that as an oppressed people, other people in other countries that are used to oppression from foreign invaders, right? And whether that's an economic invasion or actual physical invasion, other people, other oppressed people will welcome us with open arms. Unlikely. Unlikely. All right. Next on the list, not a mistake that I don't want you to make when you're moving abroad is not really having a grasp of what it takes to be in that country long term. Right? So I feel like some people are just checking off a list. Like, here's a move abroad checklist. Have I done all the things? And yes, that's a helpful place to start, but also research. I always want you to do your own research. Please do your own research, which is why you should be in community with other people who are not in the country. Let me add that to the list right now. I talked about this before, but I'm gonna talk about it again today. Hold on a second. You know, I can't type and talk at the same time. Are you coming to Exodus Summit this year? ExodusSummit.com/2023. Tickets are not available right now, but sign up for the wait list because you're going to want to get tickets. You're going to want to get tickets. And this brings up a good point. Everybody needs to be mindful that these other countries have their own oppressed people. Yes. And I will say, frequently in other countries, the people that, if you're moving from the US, that you might interact with are the oppressors, not the oppressed. Frequently, Not every country, it's not always going to be the same, but frequently, you're going to rub shoulders with the oppressors. And maybe not current oppressors, but like historical oppressors. Detroit, I see your comment, and I'm not sure where you're going with this. You said queer has nothing to do with naturalization, ethnicity, or citizenship. Okay. But it's still an oppressed group of people, which was my point. Was that if you're disabled, that's an extra strike against you in the general populace. If you're queer, that's an extra strike against you in the general populace. So I'm wondering why you said it has nothing to do with naturalization, ethnicity, or citizenship. Because I didn't say it did. I'm saying that queer people are judged more harshly, right? They have a harder time. And disabled people are judged more harshly and have a harder time. And we're not going to deny that on this channel. So maybe you have a point that I can't spot here. And if you do, I would love you to clarify it. But we also don't put queer in quotes. Like we're not going to pretend that queer people don't have a harder time in every single society around the world, like modern society, right? Or maybe 90%. I'm not going to say every single one because I haven't been in every single one, but 90 to 95%. Disabled people and queer people are not treated with the same respect, but able-bodied heterosexual people are treated with. And that matters. Okay, so you said it's nothing to do with naturalization, ethnicity, or citizenship, but how you present in the world where you are and where you go impacts your experience. It impacts your experience. I'm so sorry, Bobby. We're doing this. We're gonna block you. Okay. If you're a man and you come here and you say things that I can't quite grasp, if you're being shady, like saying we need to be politically correct in these internet streets, it's not politically correct to say that queer people have a hard time. It's actual effing facts, right? So now you can't comment on this channel no more, Bobby. No one's gonna see it. I'm so sorry. You may not have meant it the way I took it, but if you have a male identified name and you show up here talking what sounds like sideways, you're getting banned real quick. I'm so sorry. How you present matters when you move abroad. Right? Like if you have mobility issues, Mexico City is a significantly harder city for you to live in. San Miguel de Allende, a significantly harder city to live in than most American cities. And that matters, right? We're not going to pretend this isn't a thing. Sandra knows what she's talking about. She said he's been banned from other women's channels talking crazy. Yeah, girl. I don't do that. It's not politically correct to say that like queer people, disabled people are going to have a harder time no matter where on the planet they go. Like, what? Facts are not political correctness. All right. So I was talking about not having a grasp on what it takes to be there in the long term. Like you need to know what kind of visas you have. Someone brought up the other day, the woman in Bali, the queer, I don't know, whatever. The couple in Bali, I don't know their exact identity, so I don't want to talk about it. The couple in Bali who were deported because they made the news. Their visa wasn't 100%, and they were queer. And like that's not a thing in Bali. It's not a thing, right? What they needed to do to be there in Bali long term was to be silent. And they weren't, right? And that's not shaming them, and that's not saying that they're at fault. That's saying that we have to recognize where we go around the world and who we are and how we present the pitfalls in those places, right? And what it's going to take for us to be there long term. What it's going to take, like what it's going to take for me to be there long term. Every time I go to get my residency, I get more questions than other people. I get more questions. Why? Why is this a thing? The last time I went, I told the facilitator that helped me what they were talking about. What kind of questions they were asking me. He was like, I think there's a note on your file. Why? Why is there a note on my file? Perfectly legal. I met the standard. I more than met the standards, et cetera, et cetera. Why is there a note on my file? I just have to do more to prove that I have the money it requires to live here because they don't believe me. They don't believe me. Why not? Why don't you believe me? It's how I present, right? Doing the research, knowing that you can't. I see all the time people asking questions like, I want to move to Mexico next week, next month. What do I have to do to be here? Or I've overstayed my visa. What do I have to do? And the answers are nonsense. The answers are different versions of nonsense, right? And I understand these people are doing research by asking a Facebook group, but these Facebook people don't care about you. These Facebook people do not care about you. They do not care about your legal status. Know what it takes to be in a country long term, whether that is what it takes to move through the world, right? Like how exhausting is it to always be a foreigner? What are the legal requirements for you to be here? What happens if you don't meet the legal requirements? Knowing those things are important so that you don't end up in trouble. JG says she just saw a story about a woman jailed in Dubai for raising her voice. I didn't read that. And that's like surprising because like how loud do you have to be? But is it that she raised her voice or she raised her voice and, right? Know that anywhere you go, it's X happened and, right? Like, so Anissa said those ladies got kicked out of Bali for marketing an illegal business in Bali. And, right? And wherever you go, you are you and whatever you do. So what does it take for you to stay here long term? Not marketing a business about how to stay. It was about how to stay in Bali when you don't really have a visa. You don't really have permission. And they were Black queer women. So like, a man yelled at her and she yelled back. Women are not allowed to yell. She yelled and she's a woman. And a man yelled at her, she yelled back, which is a natural reaction. But to stay in Bali, to stay in Dubai, you need to know what the rules are for women because they're not the same 100% as the rules for men. Right? You need to know what the rules are for a lot of things. You need to know, and not just the rules, but the consequences, right? because we're used to the American justice system. We know that even if the rules are the same, the consequences are not the same across the board. So all right. Next, I want to talk about, we talked earlier about not moving to a place just because your community is there, right? Like if you are queer, not moving to a place simply because there are a bunch of other queer people there. Now it might be positive in the sense that it's probably a safe place for you as a queer person. But that doesn't mean that it's your place, right? You might be there and be like, yeah, I'm safe, but I'm bored. Or yeah, I'm safe, but like I need the beach. Yeah, I'm safe. This weather's not for me. The city's not for me. Whatever it is might not be for you. But if safety is your top concern, I would look for that if safety was my top concern, right? And the other things were totally negotiable. So there is some value in having that community there and knowing who's there and how it impacts them, right? But moving there solely because of that is what I think the mistake is. You've got to do some more research. But I also think that moving somewhere and thinking that you don't need a community of people who look like you or are from the place you're from is also a mistake. And we've talked about this before on this channel. People who come and say things like, I see in the group all the time, I've seen, I don't want to move anywhere where there are any Americans. I don't want to communicate with any Americans. I want to get away from Americans when I move abroad. I don't want to be near anyone who looks like me. I don't want to be in a place where there are any American brands because I'm going to feel like I'm in America. Which, baby, globalization generally means that's not going to happen unless you're in a very secluded location. You don't see American brands. I'm so sorry. But the idea that you don't need community blows my mind. Because like I've said this before on this channel, I'm going to say it again. Mexicans can't tell me what I don't know about the process of renewing my passport, of renewing my residency here. When I need to get from temporary residency, which I have, to permanent residency, which I qualified for, but they didn't give me, I can't go to a Mexican neighbor and ask them, what do I do? Or like, who should I talk to? Do you have a recommendation for a facilitator to help me? I can't go to them because that's not their business. I need to be in community with people who know the answer. I'm running out of gel. I need someone to bring it down for me. I need my expat community. Who going up? Who going up? Who's coming back down? And yes, Mexicans cross the border too, right? But like, who am I sending to Ulta with my shopping list? A Mexican woman or a Black woman? You already know the answer to that. You already know the answer, and that's no shade to a Mexican woman. Who am I sending to the beauty supply store? You know the answer to that. You know the answer. I'm in community with Black women who live in Mexico City because that is the only way to prosper in Mexico City. It is. I'm so sorry. It is. The only way to prosper here is for me to be in community with women who look like me. That's not my only community, but it's an important community. And people who say, I don't want to be near any Americans, you're setting yourself up for failure. You just are. Like, maybe you'll figure it out, but you're making it harder than it has to be. And I'm going to tell you, when you move abroad to another country, especially if you don't speak the language fluently, make everything as easy for yourself as you can. Make everything as easy for yourself. Don't. Simone says it right there. If you're going to have a tough time adjusting because the creature comforts are not there. I am not moving to a town that doesn't have a chain coffee shop. Starbucks is what I look for, but it doesn't have to be a Starbucks. But if there's no coffee shop that is available in other cities as well, and has multiple locations in this city, this is not a city for me. It's not. I'm not a country girl, so I'm not. Let's listen. We all have our requirements. We all have our requirements. I'm not moving in, and I don't even drink. I do not drink coffee, y'all. I do not drink coffee. It is about the infrastructure, right? It's about how regular things like power are. Like, if power is a fleeting thought, the coffee shop chain might not open there. If it's like you might go a week without power, the coffee shop chain is probably not going to open there. It's about knowing that there's enough infrastructure for me to make it. If there's no chain coffee shops here, even if it's a chain that's local to the country, if there's no chain coffee shops, I don't know. I don't know, dog. The infrastructure. I don't know. Blissful, you asked why I didn't give me permanent residency if you qualify. I don't know. The man said it was because I didn't have a pension, but at the time that wasn't a requirement. I don't even know if it's an actual requirement now for permanent residency. He said I didn't have a pension. I met the financial requirement for permanent residency, which was the only requirement that existed at the time. But he said because I didn't have a pension, so I didn't have income coming in regularly that was like guaranteed from the government, like pension or Social Security. I think what they were really looking for was Social Security, because I didn't have money that was coming in regularly from Social Security. I couldn't qualify for permanent residency. Now I can get permanent residency after 4 years. It's not a big deal. It's just going to cost me more and like more hassle, but there was no reason. All right. Accident Safe says I try to live within 8 miles of Whole Foods. Y'all, I was in London and saw Whole Foods and I was like, what's happening here? I had no idea they were outside of the US. Why isn't there one here? Why? Why isn't there a Whole Foods here? Do I need to write a letter? What's happening? When I saw them in London, I was like, wait, they're outside of the US. I had no idea. And I know people watching from London are going to be like, you so stupid. Fair. I just never thought about the fact that Whole Foods was outside of America. Woo. Okay. Casein K says that the place has to have good coffee. That's one of her requirements. I'm not a coffee drinker. I just need to know that the place has reliable infrastructure. And so for me, that's one of the signs. There are probably other signs you could use as well to know that the place has reliable infrastructure, but that's one of the signs that I look at. So what y'all looking at for reliable signs? Heard that time, huh? A little gas bubbles popping up. I need reliable infrastructure. Someone says I can't live anywhere that doesn't have app-based food delivery. I want app-based food delivery, but I also want reliable addresses. When I was in Senegal, They had app-based food delivery, but I'd have to call someone and be like, okay, this is how to actually find me, because they didn't trust the button on the screen because the addresses weren't real thing. I want addresses. I'm not complaining. Here's the thing. Let's back up a second. Okay, so Whole Foods has been here in London for a year. Okay, so I'm not that late, just a year. Or is that years? Anyway, I don't know. I don't think I'm that late. So Simone says when I was in Cambodia, I only had coordinates. I don't want to live in a place that only has coordinates. I want to live in a place that has reliable addresses. So I'm not going to move to a place that only has coordinates and complain about it. Right? Know what your standards are and do that. Okay, so I think she was saying years. Black flourishing free Whole Foods has been in for years. Okay. Like JG says, internet and public transportation is my need. Yes. Yes. Sarah Wright needs a bougie grocery store and small markets. Adelia can't live in a place with fewer than 3 metro lines. Know what your standard is and go to a place that meets your standard instead of going to another place and complaining about it. Right? And so that's why I talked about like expecting things to be like at home. It's a different side of the same coin, right? Like my standard is reliable infrastructure. I need power. I need internet. I need running water. I need electricity. Boom, I said power already. Yes, I need those things. So I'm going to move to a place where they're reliable. Those are the things I expect to be like at home because those are my needs. The subtitles on the screen are not a need. I'm not complaining. I'm complaining about it here, but not outside of this. I'll never talk about it again. Probably. It's not a need. It's not like I don't like this place because of. I'm not having standards, moving to a place that doesn't meet them, and then complaining about those standards. High Vibe needs a place where eating mostly plant-based isn't an anomaly, right? Now, if you go to a country that is like, what is a vegan? What are you talking about? Well, vegetarian? No. And then complain about it. That's a you problem, right? But you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. I know it. Okay. Anybody coming to see you? Otis needs at least 5 flights a day to and from ATL for work for now. Makes sense. So you're not going to go to a place like you wouldn't go to Tegucigalpa. I don't think they have 5 flights a day to Atlanta. I just don't. They might, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they do. I'm going to guess they don't. Right? So going to a place that doesn't meet the requirements you have and complaining about that is different than going to a place and being like, this is nice, but this one thing isn't perfect, right? Like, I love Mexico City. I don't want to watch subtitles when I'm watching movies. I'm not like on a letter writing campaign. I'm not complaining to anybody. I'm just like, I'm going to still go to the movies. Just a little salty, a little tiny bit of salt, a little coating of salt. Close to an international airport. Important. High quality hospital healthcare. Yes. Don't move to a place out in the middle of nowhere. You guys know Claire from Up in the Air Life. She was she was a speaker in the first Exodus Summit. She was on a gorilla trek somewhere and she was whitewater rafting. I don't remember if a gorilla trek and the whitewater rafting were the same trip. I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure she was whitewater raft. Something happened, y'all. I don't think it was the gorilla trek. I think it was rafting. I don't quite remember, because they're related in some way. But she broke her leg and needed like a rod in it, whatever. And the hospital she went to, they were like, nah. And so her insurance had to airlift her somewhere else for her to get the care she needed, because the hospital was like, we ain't got it. That's so cute. We ain't got it. We're like, sorry. You need something we're not going to do. And so if she didn't live there, but if she lived there, that would have been a problem. Like, imagine going to a hospital where they're like, nah. Right? I know a lot of rural hospitals are going to be like that. I don't want that. I'm a city girl. I know if anything happens to me, I know what hospital I'm going to. I know. I know where I'm going to be. Now, I will say this. I know what hospital I'm going to if it's an emergency, and I know what hospital I'm going to if it's a non-emergency. But I still need to go to a hospital. I already have 2 hospitals picked out. My like, oh, did I cut my finger off? I know where I'm going. My like, oh, I should go to the ER because XYZ. I know where I'm going. And they're both like world-class hospitals. Okay, my child needs a Buddhist community. Yes. Yes. You're allowed to have your needs. I recommend you have I'm going to tell you, make a list of the things you need before you pick your city. Make a list of the things you need before you pick your city. And then use that to help you guide yourself. Because I don't want I know my child's not going to do this, but moving to a place that has no Buddhist community and then complaining about it ain't the move. It's not, if that's something you need. If it's something you want, but you can live without, okay. You're probably not going to be complaining about it. But if it's something you need, don't do it. Yes, I know to bring cash. I think Erica's laughing at me because I try to pay it with a credit card in a hospital in Senegal. Because they said on the door they accepted Visa. When I got there, they were like, our credit card machine don't work. Girl, what you talking about? Go get us cash. I'd been in the hospital for like 5 hours because I thought I had malaria. Fun. And they were like, cash. Let's see. My phone is in my hand 95% of the time when I'm walking. And even if it's not because I'm like looking at a map or checking an Uber or something like that, it's because I'm changing the song. I'm on Spotify or Apple Music. Like, yes, girl, let's get this playlist, doing the playlist thing. Let's listen to this podcast. Skip ahead, choose the next one. And in Vietnam? No. In them big cities? Absolutely not. In Mexico City? Yeah. Tell nobody want my phone. Tell nobody want my phone here. I mean, if I leave it on the table, it's going to be gone when I get back. But nobody's going to take it out of my hand. When I was in Chiang Mai, we used to joke that like you could leave your phone somewhere and come back hours later and it would still be there. But very few places are like that. Keep your stuff in your pocket. All right, next on the list are I want to add a caveat to this. I talk about people who are moving abroad when I'm live with you all the time. I talk about what I see as bad decisions, which is why we're having this talk. In my personal life, I talk about it less because I don't worry about what other people are doing. I'm definitely not posting to Facebook groups about what other people are doing. I'm seeing people post to Facebook groups about what other expats are doing. And I'm like, if you had your own business, you wouldn't be minding other people's. Right? Like get some of your own business and we won't have to mind other people's. Cause I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on. Around July 4th, someone in a man in a Black expat group was like, I don't understand why y'all leave the country and then want to asking what's going on for 4th of July, trying to celebrate the holiday that blah, 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 blah. Have you moved abroad? The rest of your comment sounds like you haven't moved abroad yet. So let me tell you from experience for people who have lived abroad. We're not getting together for 4th of July to celebrate the holiday. Just as people in America, especially Black people in America who get together for the 4th of July are not getting together to celebrate the independence of America. They're getting together because somebody on the grill. They're getting together because, listen, everybody got the day off, or a lot of people got the day off. So we're going to spend the time over at grandma's house, right? I'm drinking and talking shit with my uncles. We're not celebrating. I would think that you would leave the idea of celebrating America behind. Who was celebrating America? If Black people in America are getting together for Labor Day and July 4th and all the other American President's Day, whatever it is, and they're not celebrating America, why do you think Black people living abroad are getting together to celebrate America? The same people might have the same day off because they might be working for American companies or the American government abroad. So this may be an actual day off work for them, the same way it's a day off work for people in America. But here you go judging. I don't know why you would do that. If you had your own business, you wouldn't worry about other people's. Find some business, make some business, do some business. Don't worry about how judging the way other people are living their life abroad, especially when you're in the US, is a bad choice. Listen, Thanksgiving. I have a Thanksgiving tradition. Am I celebrating anything about America? No. I'm eating turkey with my bestie and her husband and them kids. Why? Because they take the time off. That doesn't mean I'm celebrating the foundation of America or whatever we're supposed to. The Pilgrim. No, I don't know them people. July 4th is a cookout day, period. Okay, this is it. It's about community. It's about community. Why are you judging people who are looking for community in the place they are? I'm gonna eat. I don't care what day. I do not care what day it is. I do not care what what we're celebrating. I'm going to eat. And I'm not going to waste my time judging other people because we don't have. If you move abroad and you start doing things or you continue doing things that I don't agree with, but are not harmful to you, me, or the local community, I do not care. Seeking the community on July 4th, and then talking smack about those people. You got on the computer and clickety-clacked. You got on your keyboard and you clickety-clacked. You did the clickety-clack to talk smack about people seeking community on the 4th of July. Y'all, if I see any of y'all doing that, you won't get a DM from me. A direct, a thoughtful, a cut that out. Cut it out. Because what them people's doing had nothing to do with you. There's no point in going abroad and judging other people's decisions, even if the decision is something that you view as like wholly American. Why would you leave America and then try to go celebrate an American holiday? These people just want to eat. They want to be in community. And here you go, pissing on their happy time. Listen, just say you want the big piece of chicken, but ain't nobody giving it to you because you're not coming with big piece of chicken energy. Yeah, that's not big piece of chicken energy. It's not big. It's not even chicken wing energy. It's not. You out here hating on people having it's not big piece of chicken energy. You can't get the big piece of chicken. And then, because I'm shady, so I'm going to say this. He was on his way to a country that is known for sex trafficking. I'm not saying that's why he was going. I don't know that man. But I'm going to say I did notice that. You were on your way to a country that is popular with the passport bros, criticizing other people. You could do better, but you won't. You won't. Listen, it's a whatever you can find in the fridge dog energy because I am making you a plate. It's not even a tuna sandwich. It's you better put your own personal charcuterie plate together, dog, because ain't nobody helping you. A beer? Did you bring beer money? No. People are still working American-based jobs and have those holidays off and want to hang out. It's not complicated. You ain't got to write a whole diss track in faith. You don't have to do it. You just don't. You don't. These people are doing what they want to do. I hope you find a woman who treats you right for the price you want to pay. Like I don't know what to say to you. Like this isn't. Woo. No. All right. Okay, so next on my list, we're thinking every person that looks like he's going to be in community, which we already talked about, and then thinking that you don't need an expat community. So I made it through the list. Let's count. Kicking the F in. Let's count and see how many that was. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. I added 2 while we were here, but it's 10. All right, so that is the mistakes I don't want you to make. Recap time. All right. Running away from something instead of towards something. Assuming it's all going to be better when you move abroad. All your issues are going to go away. Assuming it's easy. Life is going to be easy street when you go abroad. Expecting things to be like home. Thinking you're going to easily assimilate and be accepted. Thinking, when they talk about foreigners, they're not talking about us. Not really having a grasp of what it takes to be there long term. Remember who you are and what that comes with. Judging people who are doing things another way. Thinking every person that looks like you is going to be in community, and thinking that you don't need community of people who look like you. Baby, Reaper says Prosecco kicks in. Prosecco been kicked in. It's nap after this. I was cleaning up my closet earlier today. So my bed is full of clothes. So I can't even nap. I have to push all that stuff to the side. Yes. Okay. 50 is the new 50. Oh, I love that name. Needs a good golf course. Are there any? I don't know if there are any good golf. I don't think there are any good golf courses in the city. There's a driving range way out in the boonies. You need to be in a place that has enough land for a golf course. I know San Miguel de Allende has some golf courses. I'd be surprised that there are no golf courses here, but I never hear people talk about them. Just because we're very, like, land is at a premium. They're tearing down a mall not far from me. And I think the reason they're tearing it down is that it was like a 1 level, maybe 2 level mall. It wasn't dense enough. We need like 30 stories. Like, what are we doing in this? It wasn't dense enough. This is a very dense city. So I stand in front of the liquor store and ask for hugs. All right. I feel like we should stop being shady. I don't know if I'm ready though. Oh, yay, Money Coach Malika. I made a few mistakes when I moved to Merida. They weren't all bad, but definitely lessons learned. One of your videos inspired me, so I created a video to pay it forward. I'm going to go look for that video. If I can find it, I will share it. You can't drop links in the comment section, unfortunately. But if I can find it, I will share it because we make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. It really is. It's so like your move doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes, but you have to be flexible. If you make a mistake and you're like, well, that's it, going back home, you're never going to make it because the mistake is going to happen on day 1, day 30, day 365, day 722. Like the mistake is going to happen somewhere. It's going to be big. It's going to cost you. All right. Oh, it's the most recent, just posted Friday. All right, I'm going to go look for that. Y'all go look at Money. After you have liked this video and subscribed to this channel, go check out Money Coach Malika's most recent video. Okay, so per Google, there are golf courses in Mexico. Not sure whether they're public. Mexico City. Sarah. I'm going to go Google this. I would not trust Google on that. Not because they're wrong with whether there are golf courses, but what their idea of Mexico City is and what your idea of Mexico City is might be 2 different things. Let's go see. Courses. Oh. Let's see what they're saying. Club de Golf. Oh, wait. Club de Golf Chapultepec. Okay. One of the best golf courses in Mexico. That looks not terribly far. Let me see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. No, I was wrong. That's Buena Vista. I am seeing things that are marked as golf courses here, but I know are not golf courses. Like World Golf Championships. Right north of Auditorio Nacional, everybody will tell you there's no golf course there. One, Campo de Golf, which is marked as a few blocks from Angel of Independence, ain't no golf course there. But some of these further out, okay, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the vision. Some of these are actually in the state of Mexico. Wait. I think actually all the ones I've seen. No, Club de Golf Bosques is in the city. But all the other ones I've seen on the west side are in the state, not the city. But when I search golf courses Mexico City, they show up. So yes. Golf Academy and Range is not a course. It's a driving range. Chambre, this one might actually be in the city. Okay, that was totally random. But I'm kind of obsessed with Mexico City geography and figuring out where things are. There are a few, like 2 or 3 actual ones in Mexico City that I can see from the map right now. The rest of them are actually in Mexico State. It's an imaginary border, like all borders are. But they're not actually, like the city is dense, I tell you. A golf course by the Angel? Never, right? Like, no, that's not it. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. Oh, Teresa subscribed. Money Coach Malika. All right now. Is weed the norm? Do you smell it all the time? I smelled a guy walked past me smoking publicly yesterday. And that's probably the first time I've smelt it. What did I do yesterday? Yesterday was Saturday. I went to Pilates. That was my first time smelling it in probably like a month or more. You can go to places where it's easy to find weed. But if you're not going to places where it's easy to find weed, it's not like you're coming home smelling, right? Like if you're looking for it, you'll find it. I walked past a park, and there was a building in the park, and on one side weed was sprayed, on the other side, like spray painted. On the other side it said Mota, and I was like, okay, someone's probably selling here, but there's no one here right now. I don't know. Like if I wanted to buy marijuana, I could buy it easily, I'm pretty sure. But do you smell it all the time? No. No. A friend wears weed-shaped sunglasses when she travels, and people offer to sell weed to her. I mean, that sounds like it would move. Like, I'm assuming she wants weed. I'm assuming she smokes marijuana if she's wearing weed-shaped sunglasses. That seems like that works out, right? Seems like she has a plan and she's making it happen. Not mad. I am not mad at women with plans who make it happen. Whatever your plan is, as long as it's not murdering me, baby, or anyone else, I'm happy for you. Right? Oh, and how would I know the info? Like they literally like one of the large smoke spots in the city is right by the Senate because weed is decriminalized, but not legal. This is weird. We're in this weird phase where like you're not gonna get arrested for it, but like you're not supposed to do it, but you're not gonna get arrested. It's a weird time in history. Everybody knows. The man walked by me and I was like, "Is he smoking?" Yeah, okay. Minding my business. JT Arowosaye. I butchered that. I'm so sorry, JT. Are you open to meeting up with people during your scouting trips to ask about CDMX if you're available? Sometimes, not always. Like I'm going into Exodus Summit planning season right now, so I'm on my computer every day, and I don't like it. I'm more open to meeting people I already know or have some relationship with online. Strangers, it's kind of hard because you could be a serial killer. Not you, JT. Of course not you, but other people. But sometimes I'm very open, and sometimes I'm just like, I would love to, but who, when, why? Like, there's so much going on. So possibly, I always say, hit me up. Let's see what happens. A lot of people hit me up and they're like, I'm coming to the city in 3 months. And I'm like, okay, I'm not writing that in my calendar. Like, I'm just not. Hit me up when you're here and I'll see if I'm available. But like, I can't make plans around your travel schedule. That's not the life I live. I don't make plans 3 months out for myself. I think that's the point. I don't make I'm very much a what am I wake up in the morning or like the night before, I'm like, what am I doing tomorrow? What am I doing tomorrow? So you really got to get me like the day before, 2, 3 days before, and be like, hey, are you free on this day? Anything else? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Yeah, I'm generally comfortable with people who I either know from YouTube or Instagram or something, JT, but not complete strangers. Like I saw Jay when Jay was in town because I know Jay from YouTube, and I doubted Jay would kill me in public. I believed that she would let me live if I met her in public. So we had breakfast, and it was fun. Yes. All right. Yeah, couldn't be me. Although, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I have to sneeze. All right. Do we have any questions before I wrap it up? Because this Prosecco, that Costco Prosecco does what it needs to do. It does. Teresa and I were drinking the same bottle of Prosecco at the same time the other day. Every Thursday, my YouTube membership meets up, and we get on Zoom. I post the invitations on Thursdays. If you're a member, you can join. And Teresa and I on Thursday were coincidentally drinking the same bottle of Prosecco at the same time. I have 3 bottles of this in the house, and I have a bottle of the. I think I got these last year during the summit. I haven't drunk them yet. I have a bottle of the Rosé Prosecco, which I've actually never tried. But my liquor cart, champagne cart, my alcohol cart is right beside me. It's kind of embarrassing, but kind of not, because I am who I am. It's also my snack cart. It's mostly snacks and alcohol, but it's right here. It gets the job done. That popsicle I had yesterday, I was out. I was like, let me go lay down. Between the sugar and the alcohol, because I put simple Prosecco, I put peaches, simple syrup, and Prosecco in there. It was good. All right. Yes. The Prosecco gets the job done. Listen. I'm either going like all out champagne, splurge, or Costco Prosecco. Like I'm fully basic or fully like, oh, that's a wild child, right? Like there's no in between for me. There's no recipe. I blended peaches. I made simple syrup. I put those together, and then I added Prosecco, and I poured them in popsicles. There was literally no recipe. There was no recipe for simple syrup. There was no recipe for the amount of peaches I blended. I made it up myself. Someone the other day said something about Grand Marnier, and I was like, would that help with a Bellini? I don't own Grand Marnier. I ain't fancy like that. Random question: how many screens do you use? Are they all Apple products? For lives like this, I use one screen. I mostly Apple products. I have 2 phones. Don't ask. It doesn't matter. 2 iPhones and an iPad. But mostly, and a laptop. All Apple. But when I'm here, it's me and my desktop. Yes, my snack cart is right next to my desk. So if I'm hungry, I can just reach over and grab a snack. You know how I do. I like to make things easy for myself. I like to make the food easy for myself. All right, let's see. All right, I think that might be it for us, y'all. Finish drink. Okay, anything else we need to talk about? Have you liked the video? Have you subscribed? Are you a subscriber? I feel like my video is mostly subscribers, and then people like Brian, Bill, whatever his name is, who I had to block. Because like, Don't get shady with me. Okay, so yes, it was Teresa. I think was Teresa. Were you the one who said Grand Marnier? I don't know. Poof Be Gone asked, "What's in the snack carts?" I have a lot of like packages of Oreos because I bought them at Costco and I haven't eaten them. I'm not supposed to be eating gluten, so I haven't eaten them in a long time. I ate, I think, 6 Oreos on Tuesday morning during. Wait a minute now. During our Tuesday morning co-working session. I am doing co-working sessions on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings, and the girls are loving it. Loving the co-working sessions. Co-working Tuesday morning, Thursday morning on my other channel, Roshida Dowe. The next one is scheduled for, baby, let me tell you in a second. I don't know. Grr, boo, boo. Oh, wait, here it is. Here it is. I'm gonna give it to y'all. Yes. The next co-working session, we be in there getting work done. The ladies are like, I'm seeing so productive. Tuesday, meet us there. Link in the comments. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we do co-working sessions on my channel, Roshida Dowe. It's a vibe. We're getting all the work done. All the work done. Come through. All right. So yes, Nan says co-working sessions are everything. Yes, they are. We in there doing it. And you have no, I know what I was going through. Oreos. So I have, the snacks are within arm's reach. I have these Oreo packets. I think I ate 6, maybe 8. I was bloated for 2 days. My eye, I have an eye condition that is exacerbated by eating foods that taste good, including gluten, corn. So anything that is like they put in for flavor or filling, my body is like, attack. So my eye got super light sensitive and I had some eye issues for a while this week because I didn't even finish it. I didn't finish this pack of Oreos. I think I got either I ate this much or this much. I don't remember. Bloated for days. So that's that, nuts, seaweed. These are all from Costco. I really should have some kind of sponsorship at these points. Alga marina orgánica tostada. Yes, no corn. You're in Mexico, though. Being in Mexico is how I found out that I have a sensitivity to corn, because I was here for 3 weeks and I had the worst eye inflammation that I've ever had. I've had this issue for over 20 years, but being in Mexico for 3 weeks gave me the worst inflammation I've ever had. And then I was like, I wonder, and I Googled, and hella people are allergic to corn or have sensitivities to corn. I had no idea. It's a thing. I was eating corn at every meal and my eye was like, absolutely not. Ghosted out somewhere. Anyhoodle, the co-working sessions are at 9 a.m. Eastern time. They have gluten-free Oreos now? I haven't seen them. They may not have them in Mexico. That may be the kind of thing where if I want to live the exact same life I live in the US, I have to pay more for it by having someone bring it down myself, have someone bring it down, or have it shipped down to me for a ridiculous price. But I'm going to be looking for gluten-free Oreos. Okay. Okay. I do not like unsolicited recommendations. I wasn't asking for a recommendation, and y'all got to give me better recommendations in the health food store. Like if you're going to recommend things to me, because there's corn in the health food store and there's gluten in the health food store. And there's some disgusting tasting things in the health food store. Things that are sweetened with dates that I don't want in my body. I didn't even see what this is in response to, but it's factual. Actual effing factual. I just don't care. I'd be risking it all. I know I can't eat gluten, and I have packages of Oreos here, and I hadn't eaten them in months. Maybe 6 months I hadn't eaten any Oreos, maybe less, maybe like 4. But Tuesday morning I was hungry, so I did it. And my body was like, no, sis, this ain't for you. In Mexico City, yes, they are. They might offer you flour, but it's because they think you're a foreigner and you don't know nothing about corn tortillas. Yes. And so I struggled. And so every once in a while, I'll eat tacos with corn, but I'm very cognizant of when I eat corn, and I won't eat anything else that has it in it. Right? Like I don't eat things that have corn as part of them. Like if I were to order a poke bowl, I wouldn't get corn on it. If I was going to go to Chipotle, I wouldn't get corn on it. A tortilla, I'll do it, but I won't eat tacos again for like 4 or 5 days, maybe a week. Who knew? I found out the hard way. I'm sensitive. I'm not sensitive to tomatoes or eggplants as far as I know, but potatoes and corn. Potatoes are lower on my list, but it's flour, corn, and then like tomatoes, potatoes. Something else I ate. Oh, almond butter. I can eat a handful of almonds. Eating almond butter, my body's like, no. Because it's more of a handful, right? Like if I eat a scoop of that, that's more than like 3 or 4 or 5 almonds. My body's like, absolutely not, sister. Lie down for 3 days. So Halisi says that wheat in Denver is tearing her up, extreme stomach aches in Portugal, no problems whatsoever. I don't eat bread here. I hear that. I believe that Mexico is too close to the U.S. for the issues that plagued me in the U.S. to not also plague me here. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of the suppliers are the same. And so I don't. But I mean, every once in a while, I'll eat like a croissant or something. But never in the U.S. I know that. Never in the U.S. I'll tell you that I had a super random. I'm going to save this and I'm going to get out of here. I had a lot of. There was a time where I went to Colombia, went to Bogota, and I came back and I had a temperature of 104 for 2 days and then 102 for 2 days. And then I went to the ER. And they were like, oh, bitch, this is the problem. I went to my doctor and he sent my blood to the CDC because he couldn't figure out what was wrong. And then I went to like the preeminent rheumatologist in Ohio, in Central Ohio, to figure out what was wrong with me. And then they were like, oh, the doctor was like, oh, it's an undetermined autoimmune disorder. You have some like, and I knew I have other autoimmune disorders. So she was like, it's some kind of autoimmune disorder, but we don't know what it is. We don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry. Like, it's some autoimmune disorder, but we can't identify it. Good luck, God bless. And she told me to go on a medicine that I knew if you don't know what's wrong with me, putting me on a medicine doesn't help me because then I'm going to be on this medicine for forever. And it was like an injectable Humira. Any hoodle. Two of my friends were doing Whole30 at the same time. So I was like, I'll do it with y'all. I did Whole30. And if you guys don't know, Whole30 cuts out like everything Jesus wants you to eat. It cuts it out. Ain't no loaves of bread, dog. Like, no. The fish, what's it fried in? Girl, what? Whole30 cuts out everything except for like hope and water. That's really all you can eat. And so I did Whole30 for a month and I had 104 for 2 days, 102 for 2 days, and then like 90, between 100 and 99 every day for 2 months. I did Whole30, my fever went away. My fever went away. I was a yoga teacher before. I don't know if you guys know this. I was a yoga teacher before, and I was doing yoga regularly, and I couldn't press my hands back. I couldn't chaturanga. I couldn't do a handstand. I couldn't do anything that required my wrists to be flat because it hurt too much. I couldn't raise my left arm without significant pain in my shoulder. I didn't know what was going on. I did Whole 30 for 30 days. The pain went away. The inflammation, well, I didn't realize it was inflammation in my joints, but the inflammation in my joints went away. The fever went away. All those things went away when I did Whole 30. And so I know, even though she was like, it's an undetermined autoimmune disorder, take Humira forever, bye. I know that I'm sensitive to certain foods and not eating them helps me a lot, but them foods taste good. Have y'all eaten wheat from the right bakery? Like dairy? Yes, Marika says dairy does me wrong too. Yes, dairy. I can't have dairy. Gluten, dairy, soy, corn, potato, anything that tastes delicious. My body was like, that's not for you. And so I cheat all the time. You guys have eaten wheat. You guys have eaten wheat-based products. You know, I'm going to eat the cake because the cake tastes good. Oh, yeah, server teacher Nikki, I have uveitis. Yeah, that was the second symptom that came up for me. If your first symptom is the same as my first symptom, we ain't got to talk about it here. But I have uveitis, and that's what irritated this week after I ate Oreos. Y'all just be on here just lying. Wheat is a plant, right? It is delicious. Wheat, yes, you're right. Wheat is a plant. It is delicious. My body just doesn't like it. And that's the only plant we don't discuss right now. Maybe corn. Corn is also delicious. Everything here is made with corn, and I can't eat it. There's a whole corn restaurant here, which I've heard is really good. But like I would need to eat like water and meat for 2 weeks before I went to the restaurant and 2 weeks after. Otherwise, I can't go. Any hoodle. I think that's it. Hope and water. No, it's not. I mean, they let you eat foods. Like you can eat foods there's a lot of foods you can eat on Whole 30. There's not things you want to eat, right? And it's all like, eat this apple, right? Like it's not food that like, it's not a meal plan that translates well to being the outside. Because it really is like, you can have a pack of bacon. Like, where am I going to go get bacon? Like, just bacon. I don't even know if you can have eggs on that. I did some dietary thing where I couldn't eat eggs. I can't remember if that was Whole Foods or something else. I think it was something else. Any hoodle, y'all. Yeah, you can eat salads in Mexico. I wouldn't eat salads at a restaurant that you already think is sketchy, but you can eat salads in Mexico. Your stomach, I think one of the things we don't talk about enough, you have to cheat. And Alexandria is an MD, or she's in Maryland. I don't know. She's either a doctor or she's in Maryland. I don't care. I'm calling her a doctor today. The doctor said you have to cheat. You allergic to all these things? You got to cheat. You got to cheat. The doctor said so. The doctor said so. All right. What was I going to say? We were talking about Girl, I don't know. This Prosecco is hitting. I don't think that says what you wanted to say. But yes, my doctor, Alexandria, says you have to cheat. I don't know her. You have to cheat. Yeah. Okay, future. You have to cheat on your diet, not on your relationship. Yes, gotta live life. It's so when you have food allergies, it's so hard to live. And that's an important thing to know when you move abroad too. What are the foods that are popular there? What are the foods you can tolerate? I had no idea. I had no idea I had a sensitivity to corn until I moved to Mexico, or until I was visiting Mexico for 3 weeks. And I literally I had to get injections inside my eye, like down to the pink part. And my doctor was like, yeah, this is really not like, okay, thanks for coming to see me, but like, oh no, this is bad. This is really bad. His nurse, who's with him every day, was like so disgusted. Like, you can tell he does not do these injections because the nurse was like, I can't believe I have to do, oh my God. What? And I was like, so you're not doing this every day, huh, girl? She was like, I have to hold your eye open. I'm in pain. So like, I know you don't want to do this and you don't want to see the needle going in, but like, he puts the needle in like this. I got more injections this year and he put it in through the skin, through here. So I've gotten injections. This is so not what we're talking about. I don't know how we ended up here, but I got injections in the pink part down there. Like the needle goes past your eye and into there. Boop. And then I've gotten injections into the skin there. All terrible. Because I cheat and eat foods I'm not supposed to eat, and our body's like, absolutely not, shut down. You don't need to see. Anywho. Thanks, friends. Thanks for hanging out. My glass is empty. There's still Prosecco in the bottle, but I feel like we have done it today. So I'm gonna tap out and go take a nap because that's all I can do right now. I'm not allergic to alcohol. Have you subscribed? Have you liked this video? Have you turned on notifications? Have you signed up for the Exodus Summit 2023, Exodus Summit /2023 to get on the wait list? Are you coming to hang out with us on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m.? I shared the link earlier. Come through. Come through. All right, y'all. Bye.